Welcome to the Catholic Life Coach Podcast. My name is Carla Fitz. I'm a certified life coach, wife, and mom of two beautiful little girls and a handsome little boy. My hope for this podcast is to support and empower other Catholic women to live their most authentic life, to share life coaching tools from a Catholic perspective in order to help you live a more fulfilling and aligned life filled with peace, joy, and abundance. Let's get started. Hello, my loves, and welcome to this episode. Before I get started, I just want to give you an update about the last episode I shared with you guys, which was a very vulnerable episode talking about what I was going through with Venezuela and how important it is to not quit in the last chapter. And I was very sad that day. I felt a lot of emotions, and I just wanted to give you an update. Things are going much better. I'm feeling a lot better. I think I shifted into trusting God and knowing that He has the best plan for all of us involved. um, and just recognizing His goodness in all of this, recognizing how much progress we have made as a country, recognizing how He's present in everything, and recognizing that we are safe in this moment and coming back to my senses and coming back to my practices of taking care of my mental health and taking care of my body and spending quiet time with Him. I had an amazing holy hour and just spending time reconnecting with whom He's calling me to be and whom He has created me to be, and just slowing down and also welcoming all the feelings, because that is the beauty of all of this, is that we get to be present with each and every emotion that comes up. The problem is not that we feel emotions. The problem is that we don't want to feel emotions. And I just want to thank you all for your prayers, for your love. Those of you that reached out in Instagram, I'm just so thankful to have that support and to have so much love and beautiful community around me. So thank you. Now, this is actually taking me to this episode because this past week I got coached on a very intense feeling that I think a lot of us tend to fight. And I was one this past week that was like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to feel this. It's just too much. Let's just slow down and not feel this emotion. And the emotion is fear. When fear arises in our body, it has different ways of presenting itself. For me, sometimes fear feels intense. It's like a big vibration in my body. And it almost feels like it's a warning. Let's stop. Let's pause. It's moving too fast. I can't handle it. And I think that is the thought that a lot of times I see in my clients, and I also see in me, that I think I can't handle this. It's just too much. But sometimes fear is there as a good sign. We tend to think of fear as a reason to stop. We tend to think, well, if fear is there, I cannot move. And sometimes we want fear to go away in order for us to take the next step. However, what I want to encourage you is to look at fear and embrace it. Learn to embrace fear. And the way we do it is recognizing that even though fear is present, if you are feeling called to do something that makes you uncomfortable, you are being called to do this because first, it'll help you grow. Second, it's probably a calling for you. And if it's a calling for you, it's not going to go away. And you cannot wait for fear to pass or for fear to not be there in order to move. In this past episode, I think I mentioned the idea of putting fear in our backpacks, the doubts, the fears, the overwhelm, all of it. Put it in a backpack and carry the backpack. The mistake that we make is waiting for the backpack to get lighter in order to take a step forward. You don't have to wait for the backpack to get lighter in order for you to take a step forward. You don't move alone. You are moving with God. He's going to give you the graces, but you have to be willing to move. You have to be willing to take a step forward that freaks you out. Is it comfortable? 100% no. It's not. It's not comfortable. Anytime you do something new, it's freaky. It terrifies us. Our brains freak out, and our brains are trying to warn us to keep us safe. It's a loving action that our brains do in order to keep us safe. But if we choose to stay safe and not feel fear, what we feel instead is restlessness. We feel stress. We feel stuck. We feel like we're fighting against our own norm, against our own self, against our own calling. That's when we get to feel restless. I have been in that moment feeling restless so many times. I'm like, why am I not just at peace? And 99% of the time is because I'm not taking courageous actions. I just want to stay small and stay safe. Our brain thinks that that's what it wants. Let's stay safe and in this safe space and not move and not grow. But we grow in discomfort. The space where we are at in this moment, if we have a desire in our hearts to change something, this space in which we are in right now becomes very uncomfortable. It gets tight. It gets icky. It gets like, oh my word, I cannot live in here anymore. And you can continue to fight it. But all you're going to get by trying to fight your fear is more fear, more discomfort, more restlessness. In order for us to find peace and to rest, we have to rest in Him. In order for us to find peace and alignment, we have to rest in Him and take a step forward towards our calling, towards the next step. We cannot sit and wait for God to say, okay, Carla, this is the next step, okay? And then after that step is done, then this will happen, but I've got you. It doesn't work like that. We're going to have to take a leap of faith at some point of our life if we want something to change. Now, if you don't want anything to change and you are happy and you are comfortable and you feel fulfilled, awesome. That is fantastic. But when God is calling you to step into a new thing, you have to embrace the discomfort. You have to look at fear in a different lens. When fear stops me, I look at fear as a bad thing. I'm like, I don't want to feel this. It's too much. I cannot handle it. These are all thoughts. These are all the beliefs I have been practicing about fear. But there's a different way in which I can look at fear. I can look at fear and think, there's purpose in this. I can think, of course I have fear. I'm stepping into a new thing. And then the emotion is completely different. When we are stuck in this belief that I cannot do this, it's too much, the emotion that you might get, at least for me, is defeat. I can't handle this, and I feel defeated, and I don't do anything about it. I don't change. I overthink it. I keep thinking it. I keep analyzing. I keep trying to figure out how it's going to go down, what the result is going to be, as if I have that power, and I don't. So the choice is, do we want to look at fear as a reason to stop or as a reason to keep going? Because here's the thing, when I look at fear through the lens of course there's fear and there's so much purpose in this. When I look at fear and I think, yes, I have fear, but there's a reason why God put this calling in my life. I feel purposeful. I feel aligned. Sometimes fear can actually become exciting. How amazing would it be to embrace fear and not stop at the sight of it? Think of how many things you would be willing to do. Think of how many things you would be happy to do. Perhaps not comfortable, but happy to do it. I think of things like giving birth, right? I had so much fear. But if I let fear stop me, I wouldn't have my children. That's not a reason to stop. Yes, fear is uncomfortable. But so what? It's there. It's welcomed. Of course, I have fears. Fear isn't a problem. Fear can be there and you can still do the thing you feel called to do, even when it's scary. I remember when I had this first idea, this first thought, this first desire to do a podcast. And I remember for a long time I kept thinking, well, Yeah, I think I can totally do a podcast, but maybe not now. Maybe when I feel ready. And I kept waiting and I kept waiting, and the time was not coming because I couldn't get over my fear. I was waiting for the fear to go away. And I think a lot of times we think, well, once fear goes away, then I'll know I'm ready. And then bad news is fear isn't gonna go away until you do the thing. I remember recording the very first episode. I think I re recorded that episode, I don't know how many times. I remember putting it out there and then overthinking what other people were going to think. Thinking, oh my goodness, no one's going to listen to this. And if they do listen to it, they're going to think I'm totally mad, that I'm too silly, that I make too many mistakes, that my accent is too strong. So many fears were coming up. And that, my friend, is when you know you are growing. Because when fears come up, that's when you can recognize you are putting yourself in a new step that makes you uncomfortable. We do not grow unless we get a little uncomfortable. And I remember going through that fear and asking God, is this really what you want me to do? I'm not entirely sure, but I'm just going to trust that this is where you're leading me. I'm going to trust that you are going to provide the topics. I remember I did a list of topics. It was 20 topics to see if this would last. And I remember the devil in my ear going, you are not going to stick to this. There's no way. It's going to be too much work. It's already taking you so long. And I remember thinking, yes, but that's not God. God is not putting those thoughts in my head. And of course, I have fears. This is new. This is uncomfortable. But if I want to grow into being a successful coach, if I want to grow and be the woman that God is calling me to be, if I want to grow and touch my clients' lives, I have to do something uncomfortable. That was a step in the right direction. It helped me grow. And I'm so grateful for it now. This is like my happy moment in my week when I get to record, I get to be in this office, I get to stand right behind this mic and talk with all of you. But at first, it was uncomfortable. I had so many fears, so many doubts, so many thoughts, but I had to work through them in order to step into this new version of myself. When I first certified as a coach, I was not a podcaster. I became a podcaster. And I'm grateful. And I'm also grateful that I'm not as terrified anymore. And that I don't fight the accent anymore. And that I don't pre plan as much anymore because I get to enjoy it. But I had to go through the fear first. I just want to encourage all of you to know that fear is not a reason to stop. Fear is an emotion. You can either embrace it or you can fight it. If you embrace it, it moves a little quicker and a little more gentle. If you fight it, you ignore it, it gets stronger, you start to overthink it, it gets worse. And if it gets worse, you feel like you can't handle it. And the moment that you feel like you can't handle it, you give it full control. I I can't handle it, therefore I don't want to think about it. And then you get stuck. Then you get into this cycle of restlessness. You cannot avoid fear forever. If you do avoid fear forever, you live a life that is not aligned with whom God is calling you to be. If you avoid fear and you stay in your comfort zone forever, the consequence is that you don't grow. So, yes, there is a chance that it'll be uncomfortable. There's a chance that it will be terrifying at times. But the alternative is feeling quote unquote safe, quote unquote comfortable, and never stepping into whom God is calling you to be. That is your choice. 100% your choice. I want to encourage you also to practice doing little things that make you uncomfortable right now. Whether that is a trip, whether that is an opportunity that you've been asked to speak, whether it is making an offer to someone, whether it is putting yourself out there, whether it is reaching out to a friend, anything. If there is something in your heart you feel called to do, but it terrifies you, I want to just simply invite you to take a deep breath and another one, to say a prayer, and to do the thing. The fears will come down after you do the thing. It's not going to come down ahead of time. So you have to take courageous actions in order for you to become this new version. Fear is not necessarily a warning. Fear sometimes is just an emotion you have to embrace in order to become the new you. I hope you find this encouraging. And I would love to hear from you all to see how you are utilizing these tools, what you've taken away, if this is helpful. I love connecting with all of you, and you can do so in Instagram at the Catholic Life Coach. I would love to hear from you, and I am sending you so much love and so many blessings. And until next time, God bless. Thank you so much for listening. If you are ready to dive deeper into creating an aligned life with God at the center of it all, I want to invite you to a one-on-one consultation call with me. This is your chance to explore what is possible for you and to take the next step towards living with more clarity, peace, and joy. Sign up today. The link is in the description. I also want to invite you to leave a review if you have been enjoying these episodes, and make sure to share it with a friend. That way God can reach more and more amazing Catholic women. All right, until next time, God bless.